Meteorologist Kurt Greenfield has your forecast, and Jim Morton joins us in sports. WTAP News at 11 starts now.
Live from Studio A, this is WTAP News at 11.
The leader of the Environmental Protection Agency steps down amid concerns about his ethics. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Phyllis Smith. Well, turning to the weather first, thunderstorms earlier tonight. Meteorologist Kirk Greenfield joins us now with the first look at our forecast. Kirk.
They may have sounded intense, but there were no severe thunderstorms in our immediate viewing area. That's the second wave that went through, and it looks like there may be a third that's trying to get started. Let's take a look at our current situation outside the Jan Dills Marietta Skycam atop the Lafayette Hotel. Says 73 degrees, 93% relative humidity, so it's rather close and sticky. The winds from the south-southwest at 5 miles per hour, and the barometer 30.22 inches and somewhat steady. Well, here's where the watches and warnings are. A flash flood watch in effect until 1 a.m. about 2 hours from now. And it may be released a little bit earlier. As you can tell, it's been narrowed down quite a bit here. We still have a few showers, so we can't rule out the possibility of a pop-up storm or two. There's the first wave that went through, the second wave, and now we're waiting to see if a third gets organized before that watch expires just a little after midnight tonight. It has been an interesting night with some vivid lightning and warm, humid conditions. The last day of the heat wave, thank goodness. At 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, storms will be likely 71. By noon, we're up to 75 and mostly cloudy, but then the skies begin to part, and it looks like we'll have mostly sunny skies and maybe a maximum of 80 as we go through Friday. What a difference a day will make in the Mid-Ohio Valley. I'll be back in a few minutes with the rest of the forecast. Phyllis?
Thank you, Kirk. We have an update to a stabbing we told you about earlier in the week. A man accused of stabbing a Marietta man in Zanesville, Ohio, is arrested. Police say 28-year-old Danny DeVole Jr. is charged with aggravated murder and 2 counts of tampering with evidence. He's accused of killing 29-year-old Eric Stevens. He's scheduled to be arraigned Friday morning in Zanesville Municipal Court. Officers found the man that was stabbed lying in a parking lot on Putnam Avenue in Zanesville about 10:20 p.m. Monday. Police say he was taken by ambulance to Genesis Hospital in Zanesville, where he later died. Police have not said what the motive was for the alleged stabbing. A former nurse that used to work at Camden Clark Medical Center pleads guilty to taking pain pills from patients to use them for herself. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 36-year-old Amy Nicole Van Camp of Parkersburg faces up to 4 years in prison. She'll be sentenced October 1st for her guilty plea to obtaining a controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery, deception, and subterfuge. Authorities say she admitted to having a pain pill addiction while she worked as a nurse at the hospital. She was fired in June 2015. The U.S. Attorney's Office says she admitted that on at least one occasion she took pills meant for patients, then falsified records to make it look like the patient had been given the medication. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and Parkersburg Police handled the investigation. A car accident on an interstate entrance ramp causes a traffic jam this morning, but authorities say there were no serious injuries. It happened just before 10 a.m. on the northbound entrance ramp to Interstate 77, just off Route 47. The Wood County Sheriff's Office says Sapphire Mitchell was driving a Hyundai Elantra that collided with a GMC Acadia driven by Deborah Matherly. Deputies say the accident happened as the first car was trying to cross a road that intersects with the ramp. Parkersburg authorities are investigating a structure fire that happened last night during the 4th of July fireworks at City Park. Fire Chief Jason Matthews says there's evidence that someone may have started a fire inside a vacant duplex on the 1000 block of 19th Street shortly after 10 p.m. The fire happened in the back of the first floor. It's a 2.5-story building. The chief says firefighters got there within 10 minutes. It took about another 10 minutes to get the fire out. Officials are continuing to investigate who may have started the fire. Deputies are searching for a car that may have been used in a burglary in Jackson County. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department is asking people to be on the lookout for a dark blue 90s Volvo station wagon. The picture you're seeing is a stock photo of what the car would look like. Deputies say a station wagon was used in a burglary early this morning in the Fairplain area. 2 men and 1 woman were allegedly in the car. They're all described as being in their mid-20s to early 30s. Call the Jackson County Sheriff's Office if you have any information. With the heat index in the mid-90s, yet again, our Megan Vanslow caught up with sanitation crews in the area to see how they're coping. Megan.
Yeah, we start pretty early, but usually by 9, 10 o'clock, it's usually pretty hot.
Nah, it sucks, but you just got to push through. Somebody's got to do it.
Joe and Jeremy work as a team for Wood County Waste. You bag it and they drag it, no matter the weather.
Yeah, rain, shine, snow, ice.
But on these 90-degree days, they have to take precautions.
Go up there and get your drink. Just make sure you drink enough fluids and keep from dehydrating.
Plenty of water. Soak up the shade when you can. And take little breaks. Try and get in the AC if you can.
Getting hot already. So it's supposed to rain.
Day after day, these sanitation crews take care of their customers.
Have a good one, buddy.
And sometimes their customers take care of them too.
We got a few of them that leaves like drinks, and people come out and give us water, and just to make sure we don't dehydrate and stay safe.
Feel appreciated, and it's nice to get water here and there. We got a lot of customers that'll bring us out fresh cold waters throughout the day. But yeah, it helps us get through.
Just like to say thanks to them, and we appreciate for the ones that do appreciate us.
These workers say the heat is just something that they deal with, but if it were up to them, they'd throw it out.
They say the hardest part of the job is the physical demand.
I'll get this one here in a minute. I'll take a break. We probably get anywhere from 10 to 11 ton.
And it certainly has its frustrations.
When they stuff a pizza box down in their cans and you can't get anything out of it.
But they're tough, and even when it feels like 100 degrees outside, they do what they have to do.
The thing about picking up trash, you're always in the weather, so whatever it is, you got to deal with it.
Megan Vanslow, WTAP News.
Congressman Bill Johnson makes a stop at a training program in Marietta. The Marietta Electrical Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee took him on a tour of its facility. The 5-year program provides on-the-job paid training as well as college credit. The people that train there almost have an associate's degree by the end of the program.
You have an opportunity to make money instead of pay for class. We don't charge anything for our apprenticeship program. It costs you $0 to join our program.
It's so vitally important that we're thinking ahead as we make workforce development programs, partnering with career tech centers, with high schools, with junior colleges and community colleges.
The program started back in 1956. Washington County Commissioners approve a resolution declaring the opioid crisis a public nuisance. That means the epidemic is seen as a public health problem for the county. It's also another necessary step if the county wants to enter into a class action opioid lawsuit. And speaking of lawsuits, commissioners also voted to enter a class action lawsuit involving missing pilot payments for federal lands. PILOT stands for Payment in Lieu of Taxes. Washington County is supposed to receive payments from the federal government to offset the loss of property taxes and other services for federally owned land in the county. Congress did not appropriate enough funds for pilot recipients. Washington County and others were underpaid as a result. The Washington County Veterans Services is gearing up for its biggest fundraiser ever. The first Mid-Ohio Valley Freedom Ride will be Saturday, July 14th. The 100-mile motorcycle ride will run all throughout Washington County. It will end at VFW Post 5108 on Pike Street with live music, food, and informational booths for veterans. All of the proceeds will go toward helping Gold Star families.
We got tasked to do an outreach program for Washington County veterans to kind of get our name out there a little bit more, but also to kind of showcase what we can do. So we come up with a motorcycle event because a lot of the vets, once they get out of the military, that's what they do, is they ride motorcycles. So we said, hey, let's put on this motorcycle event. We want to try and make it the biggest in the valley.
Go to WTAP.com for more information about the event. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says 8 people died on the state's roads over the 4th of July holiday. Troopers say there were a total of 4 fatal crashes. At least one involved an impaired driver. Troopers responded to 297 crashes on Tuesday and Wednesday overall. They also made 296 arrests for impaired driving and 276 for drug-related charges. 21 people died during the 5-day 4th of July holiday period last year. Troopers say 8 of those deaths involved an impaired driver. Statistics for West Virginia have not yet been released. Picking up where it left off, the House Judiciary Committee is going back to its investigation of the justices of the West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals. The committee will meet Thursday, July 12th through Saturday, July 14th to talk about impeachment proceedings. Members and staff have been working to identify and schedule potential witnesses and gather evidence since the first meeting last month. They then come back for another 3-day period Thursday, July 19th through Saturday, July 21st. This all started when Justice Alan Lawfrey was charged with tampering with evidence, fraud, and other charges. He still has not resigned. West Virginia officials are asking a federal appeals court to support state laws stopping abortions of unborn babies diagnosed with Down syndrome. 15 other states recently submitted a brief that argues that states have a right to create and enforce laws to stop abortions of babies diagnosed with the genetic disorder. It also asks the court to overturn a lower court ruling that stopped a similar law from going into effect in Ohio. You can find the entire court brief by going to this story at WTAP.com. Still ahead, embattled EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt is resigning in the wake of controversial travel, security, and living expenses that sparked multiple investigations into the misuse of government resources. Next at 11.